Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm talking about haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And you can support the show in many different ways. You can like the show and share it with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platforms. You can also check out the Patreon page and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts and other items there with designs inspired by the podcast made by friends of the show. Also, please check out the links in every episode description for friends of the show. That would be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of the show on Saturdays, and Michael Strange of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows as well as my own 24/7, all online, and go from there. So we're continuing our look into just a handful of haunted places in each of the states in the U.S. for now. And I didn't realize this in the last episode I did here, but we just finished off the places in Colorado that I had found articles about. So we are now moving on because I'm doing this in alphabetical order because maps are difficult for me to make out what's what, and so I just decided to do this from A to Z. And so we're on Connecticut now. A couple of things to always mention here. Any of these places I talk about in these shows, please, if you're interested in visiting them, please check out the whatever information you can find on whether or not you can visit them now. The schedule of when you're allowed to visit and rules and all those things, if there's tours or not. Because these articles that I find, they're from different points in time. So places that these places that I talk about here from these articles, things may have changed since the article came out, and I do not recommend trespassing for a number of reasons. So, um, and I think that takes care of all of that. I'm probably forgetting something, and I'll remember it later when I'm done with recording the show. Um, so yeah, let's get to this next location here. We started actually the last show I did on this in the series. We ended with a cemetery, and we're starting this show with a cemetery. And this is in Connecticut. This is Union Cemetery in Easton. And it's important to point out the names of the towns that these cemeteries are in because there's a lot of names that for these kinds of places for cemeteries and graveyards that get used in other parts of the country. I mean, same with town names and city names and street names and all that. Um, so, like for the longest time, I didn't know till I saw it and heard it someone mention it that there's a town or a city in Canada that is named London. I had no idea. So, and then there's other towns here in Michigan that I've heard names of in other states. So, this first article here is from theparanormal.net. Someone got lucky with that name there, picking that out before it was taken. It says the article here, the title is The Haunted History of Union Cemetery, Easton, Connecticut. So now this is fascinating here because, again, as I mentioned in the previous show here, cemeteries and graveyards, some seem to be neutral, have next to no energy, or if it's energy there, then it's neutral. Others seem very positive, and others seem very negative. But according to this article here, based on, I'm guessing, what the writer found out, says that cemeteries are notorious for being centers of paranormal activity. But this particular one, Union, let's see, Union Cemetery in Easton, is mentioned in more paranormal books than any other cemetery in the United States. Again, this is something you hear about a lot. It says it's home of the renowned White Lady, who roams the cemetery grounds, and this place has gives routes that you can take to get there. It's also right next to the Easton Baptist Church. It says here, and it's got apparently the cemetery got more attention recently as of when this article came out, which was in 2022, uh, due to the fact that Ed and Lorraine Warren, uh, who are famous in the paranormal world, uh, are also buried there. I was not aware of that. Huh. Okay, the next section here it says, oh, and also I will include these articles in the episode description. I forgot to mention that. So you can check out the full articles because I don't read them word for word, and also all the pictures in the articles. So I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Next section here in this article is a brief history of the cemetery. It was created soon after the town of Easton was established in the late 1600s. That's going back a little ways. It has 7 acres, and it contains the resting places for veterans from most of the nation's wars, including the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812, and of course the Civil War and all those things. And it continues, it says, to be an active burial ground today. And says that some of the oldest headstones in the U.S. are there in this cemetery. But of course, unfortunately, some have toppled over due to age. Again, not due to vandalism all the time, but then of course there are some that were vandalized, which is unfortunate. There's many that are so worn by all these years of wind and rain and snow that the names and dates of death have been erased from them, basically. And but then there's still modern memorials in the place as well. And so now this article says that the Warrens live less than a mile from this cemetery and investigated it a lot. That's fascinating. I wonder if in the years to come there will be reports of people seeing this older man and woman there and not having any idea who they are, and it's them or not. Just a fascinating idea or concept. So it says that the Warrens were also privy to the stories of neighbors and people that passed by the area at the cemetery who had experiences there. So says that this couple investigated the cemetery a lot and found enough paranormal evidence to publish a book about their findings there. And the book is called Graveyard. They do have many books that they put out over the years. And so it says the Warrens also have a video of the White Lady herself as she was moving in and out of the gravestones as if enjoying a stroll through the park there. And so now this article here says that when the Warrens claim something, you can bet it's the paranormal truth. There are many people that would agree and many people that would disagree with that. Just putting that out there. They also claim to have a picture, and both the picture and the video are now in the custody of their daughter and son-in-law, and who had the museum. I'm not sure. I forget now if they, because there was recent news that Annabelle and that exhibit was sold to a comedian. I wonder if that includes the whole Warren's collection, or if it was just certain objects from it. I have to look into that sometime. Anyway, the White Lady, it says, is probably one of the most well-known entities in the paranormal world. I'm wondering if they mean just that aspect of people seeing women in white, or if they're talking about that location. I don't know. It says there isn't a paranormal investigator who is not aware of her existence. Huh. Okay. And she lives there in the cemetery. She's also seen in the middle of Route 59, which is runs alongside the cemetery. Going on with the article here, it says that no one knows who the white lady was or why she is there, and so although several legends point to uh, the reasons for her being there. And this is always fascinating. Which came first? Was it the legends? Was it these stories that people made up about because they saw something that looked like a image of a white lady moving through a cemetery? Or was there just one sighting and the legends were created to explain it, and now because of the legends, there's a ton more sightings? It's always a something I wonder about. It's fascinating to me that how that works. And it says one of the legends is that the spirit of a woman that was murdered in the 1940s uh, is that's the apparition. That's who that is. Another legend says the lady in white died during childbirth and therefore walks the afterlife, um, looking for her child. Still another points to a woman that was killed in the 20th century by the minister of the Baptist church at the time, who then uh, put her in a hole behind the church next to the graveyard. Again, these are all legends according to the article here. Uh, and it even says that although there's no real evidence to any of these things, the sightings of her are real, from what people have explained. The white lady is always seen wearing a long white uh, wedding dress, or wedding-like dress, or nightgown, with long black hair going back over her shoulders and down her back. In the mid 20th century, it says two brothers, uh, Barbary, played at the graveyard's edge and saw a light appear, and a lady in a long white gown appeared within the light. That's always fascinating. And then cried and whimpered, and then the boys said that a tall, dark figure behind her frightened them, and they ran from the graveyard. This is odd. Huh. This sighting resembles the another appearance of the white lady that says that uh, there are black poodle-shaped entities who that's odd who jump up on her as she walks as if attempting to change her direction. That's weird, and almost shadow figure type things. I wonder. I mean, again, poodle-sized. That could be a lot of things. That could be if it's just a shadow figure. That could be a lot of things. That's odd. Um, says the white lady is also seen in the middle of the road next to the cemetery, uh, and several drivers have even gone off the road to avoid hitting her, only to get out and not find her or anything anywhere. She also is said to fly through cars. That's fascinating, terrifying drivers as they go through the road there. That's wild because that shows some intelligence of abilities there. That's not just I don't know. That's odd. In 1993, it says an impact with the white lady made a dent in the vehicle of an off-duty fireman. This is always what I wonder too with these manifestations, because every so often you hear about that where for most of the time it's just things that are seen and heard, but then once in a while somehow whoever this is able to be physical for a moment, at least to a degree, to the point where it damages a vehicle. It says hours of investigations at the cemetery have provided EVPs of a woman screaming throughout the tape. That's terrifying. Hopefully it's residual, as I always say. There's also countless pictures of a floating form dressed dressed in white, uh, moving throughout the graves that make it the cemetery known as one of Connecticut's most five most haunted places, according to the article here. So now this is amazing too because in so many of these places, you have one apparition, but then there's other places that have more than that. It says the next section here is the man with the red eyes. This other entity that is said to haunt the cemetery is that of a man uh, named Ed Kellogg, who um, was killed due to what was presumed to be adultery and set fire. That's going quite a ways. Um, where he died due to burning, basically, and burned to death. Uh, and he frequently appears to people, and he has a crumpled hat and long beard, and he appears in the passenger seats of cars. He says nothing but looks straight ahead and then vanishes. That's a whole other aspect of anomalous events because it's not like he's just seen walking through a place that you could say it's a residual or it's another time period overlapping. You have someone that is from another point in time. Let me see here. The was killed. I mean, I'm just checking to see when he was. Anyway, it doesn't really say. I don't think. But you have someone that is appearing in vehicles as they're moving and then vanishing in the vehicles as they're moving. He's also seen. So his red eyes are seen glowing in the cemetery at night, and he has been known to chase people through the graveyard. And I wonder when that happens, is it a negative thing? Is he, like as you hear in so many movies and TV shows, is he out to get someone? Or if you look at it from the other way around, does he just not want to be bothered? It's a cemetery. He may be aware of that and may be thinking, what are you people doing here in the middle of the night? Get out of here. I do wonder in encounters how often that happens where there's someone that is seen and they're given this label as, oh, they're evil because they scared us and they chased us out of here, but then they never hurt anyone, and so it makes me wonder: is it again the amount of they're just looking for respect of the other people that are of the place and the people that were buried there, and of himself not wanting to be bothered so much. Says other paranormal activity. So here's other things as well. Paranormal investigators have reported other things happening in the cemetery, both during the day and the evening. It says one woman that had a spirit box and extended microphone. Now this is again, spirit box is one of those. It's basically a radio that cycles through all the stations, and depending on who you talk to, it's either said that the white noise between the stations is where spirits are said to be able to speak through it, or they're able to pick the stations. I believe I've heard that too as well. To and affect the radio so it cycles to a station to get certain words out as well. But so she said that when she was entered the cemetery during the day, uh, and she had her technology ready to pick up things, uh, she could hear clear shout outs of hello and other things as she passed through the graveyard. That's fascinating. Um, and shouts of hi there and over here. And so that's fascinating. Felt like to her more of a social outing than a ghost hunt. There have also been, as far as on recordings, clicking noises, clapping, and you can also hear knocking. That's fascinating too. What are they knocking on? The gravestones? Uh, so as far as other things that have happened there, these are some of the apparitions I've been seeing there. Soldiers on horseback, giggling children, unexplained fogs, glowing orbs, and strange footprints are common at the cemetery, day or night. So that is really amazing. That's a lot of activity. Um, let me just check on the chat here. So I'll have to check that later. But yeah, that's really a lot of activity in that place. No wonder. Um, So maybe this might be one of those rare cases where it does belong on one of those most haunted lists or whatever. It's always hard to say. We will get through at least part of the other article I have here in this episode, and then I'll leave whatever we don't get to you all to check out on your own. This next article is from hauntedrooms.com, and the title is "The Ghosts of Union Cemetery, Easton." And this is in Connecticut. So starts off by talking about the White Lady, who's said to be the most famous apparition there. She's been seen by many people, even by the police in the area. That's always fascinating, and firefighters. And to the point where there have even been pictures of her that have appeared over time. And even, again, it mentions the Warrens have had reports or have had activity there and captured video and pictures. Witnesses describe her as a lady with long dark hair, wearing a white nightgown and bonnet. So I guess that could almost look like a wedding dress. She's usually sighted, it says, along the road next to the cemetery, but sometimes she can be seen on another road near there as well. Apparently, a reported collision, it says, with the White Lady happened in 1993 and left the vehicle dented. It says, now it goes into the legends here. We already went over that, so we don't need to go into that so much. The mentions from there goes to the man with the red eyes. And one person says, walking by the cemetery, claimed to have seen a pair of red eyes looking at him from the bush. And when he turned around to run, he heard footsteps following him. Paranormal investigators speculate that Red Eyes is a ghost of Kellogg, that same man from earlier, who was said to have been set on fire in the street in 1935. So, let me see here. It mentions the book by the Warrens, Graveyard. So it goes into the history here. We'll get back into just the historical aspect of everything. It's located in Easton, Connecticut, and it was opened back in the 1700s, and it continues to be used to this day. There's an old church connected to the cemetery, and the entire site is now patrolled by police, and people who enter the premises without permission will be arrested. So yeah, actually that worked out well. That article ended there pretty fast. So again, you have these cemeteries and graveyards, and it's fascinating how often they have these different reputations as, oh no, no one ever reports anything weird ever happening here. And others say, well, there's a weird feeling here, but it's positive, so we don't mind. And then you have others where there's just all kinds of things that seem to be going on with that. So, and I've heard all three of these sort of views of cemeteries and graveyards. Heard and read about this over the years now for all across the country. And I imagine probably other parts of the world are similar as well. But yeah, so we're now getting into the places in Connecticut, and next time in this series we'll continue on with that. And I will do some shows eventually on other haunted places around the world, and go from there. So that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.